Hello and welcome to Eye on Africa. I'm Clarisse Fortuné, and here's the top stories from across the continent. The president of Madagascar has taken to social media to condemn what he says is an attempt to topple his government. He addressed the nation, trying to quell days of anti-corruption protests. The GenZ movement is demanding his resignation. Boxing in Ghana is suspended following 2 deaths in boxing matches this year alone. The country says it's setting out safety measures at all levels before allowing the country's athletes to compete again. In the Moroccan city of Tilogit, the whistle language is considered a cultural treasure. People learn it like they learn to walk or to talk. But today, locals are fighting to preserve this ancestral language, now jeopardized by rural flights. The president of Madagascar took Facebook to make an address to the nation, trying to quell 9 days of rolling anti-corruption protests. Angie Wazel blames the GenZ movement, which is demanding his resignation. A group, he says, that's been exploited to provoke a coup. He claimed outside influences have paid for the movement to oust him. At least 22 people have been killed since the demonstration started over power and water shortages on the island.
The island nation of Madagascar is going through its largest wave of protests in years. Police fired tear gas at young protesters in the country's capital and in other cities. The GenZ youth movement say they want an end to repeated water and power cuts and the president to go.
This logo means freedom for GenZ because we are poor.
That's what happens. They take us by surprise and we're hit. This is what happens to us.
The Madagascan president is standing firm against mounting pressure to resign. Ange Raswell says external organizations, aid agencies and foreign countries are bankrolling the protest movement, motivated by designs on Madagascar's mineral wealth.
No one will benefit from destroying the country. That is why I am telling you that if I am here, if I am standing here, I am ready to listen, and above all, I am ready to lend a hand to find a solution for the country.
The UN says more than 20 people have been killed and hundreds of people have been injured since protests erupted in September. Raswell sacked his government on Monday to quell anger. That has not succeeded. The youth-led movement is using tactics seen in recent demonstrations in other countries, including Indonesia, the Philippines and Nepal.
Some Nigerian Anglican bishops and missionaries have voiced concern after the Church of England named its first ever female Archbishop of Canterbury. Sarah Mullally, a former nurse and Bishop of London, now leads 85 million Anglicans worldwide. Her historic appointment is being hailed as a breakthrough, but it also lays bare divisions between conservatives and more liberal members of the Church.
After 1,400 years with male leaders, a woman is now the Archbishop of Canterbury.
The Bishop of London, the Right Reverend and Most Honourable Dame Sarah Mullally.
The head of the Church of England, a former chief nurse, is likely to face more challenges than her male predecessors because she is a woman.
I intend to be a shepherd who enables everyone's ministry and vocation to flourish, whatever the tradition.
Whatever the tradition, including the more conservative branches of Anglicans, like here in Nigeria, where some believe that women should never head the church.
A situation where we are electing women to become prime minister is very dangerous. It's very dangerous. It's not scriptural, it's man-made, and let the white West world don't feel that they know more than God.
Others in the same conservative circles believe that gender is not the issue, but what they see as liberal ideology, like blessing same-sex couples, which Sarah Mullally has done. Others yet welcome the new leader with enthusiasm.
So I think it's a very wonderful thing, and it's also a way that God will prove to our generation that what he has been using men to do, he can also use women to do it.
Sarah Mullally, hailed for her immense competence, has called for unity. Reacting to the killing in a synagogue of Manchester on Thursday, she said that hatred and racism of any kind cannot be allowed to tear us apart.
Now, Ghana has suspended boxing as a sport in the country following 2 deaths in boxing matches this year alone. The country says it is setting out safety measures at all levels before allowing the country's athletes to compete again. Here's our Ghana correspondent, Justice Baidu.
The government has announced a ban of at least 3 months within which a new committee that is set up would come out with new modalities that would regulate how the sport is played in Ghana. First, boxer Nigerian Gabriel Success Oluranju, a former West African lightweight champion, collapsed and died in Ghana in March of 2025 during a boxing game in the capital, Accra. Calls were already growing for the regulation of the sports, and it grew to a higher extent when another boxer only a week ago died just 11 days after a boxing match at the same stadium where the Nigerian boxer died.
The boxers wouldn't be prepared to a standard that befits professional boxing. But then all that is done is to fix fights.
We have fought boxing for so many years. This incident is just a time being.
This new suspension means that there won't be any boxing bouts in Ghana until the committee has finished its work.
Enough is enough. We cannot sit idle by while the sport we love deteriorates. Ghana boxing is bigger than any individual.
Boxing is one of the most followed sports in Ghana. The country has previously produced boxing greats like Ike Korte and Azuma Nelson, who have previously held WBA welterweight titles and also have won several Olympic game medals.
Spike Lee and his wife Tonya Lee spoke to France 24 about their new mission as Benin's ambassadors to the African-American diaspora. Benin is offering citizenship to descendants of enslaved Africans, and the couple say they want to spread the word. We could be a blueprint, they told our Mark Perelman, calling on other African nations to follow Benin's lead.
What's unique and wonderful about what's happening in Benin is that they're offering citizenship to those who are of African descendants, whose ancestors, who can prove their ancestry, essentially comes from the slave trade, because Benin has a very long history of also being involved in the slave trade, right? And so there is a sense of wanting reconciliation. So it is welcoming those of us of the diaspora back home, if you will. There is no need for investment. It is about just you apply, and it's the application fee. And if you can prove your ancestry, you receive citizenship. So yes, we look forward to citizenship of Benin.
I'd like to say this, though. Sure. The one moment that has not really been surpassed, when Roots was on TV. What year? It was mid-70s? Mm-hmm. Alex Haley's book. That changed everything. I mean, almost every American was watching Roots. And there really hasn't been anything that I know that reached that level of, I don't know what the word is.
I just say, as an African American, just to be able to connect to the continent in some way. Like, I don't know. I've done DNA. I know I do have ancestry along the west coast of Africa. And the thing about what Benin is doing is you don't have to prove that you're from Benin. You just have to prove that you have ancestry along the west coast of Africa, which essentially means that you come from the West Coast, right?
How do you envision your role?
Spread the word. Spread the word. I mean, I don't think that's an accident that they chose Italian I with prominent African American Negroes. And spread the word, you know? Spread the word that our brothers and sisters of Benin are telling us, come home, welcome us home, you know, come back to the motherland. Come back where your roots are. And also, we could be an example to other African nations to do the same.
And the world over.
We could be a blueprint. You know?
And the world over. Because when you talk about slavery, it's a very difficult thing. And I think that if Benin is able to show how we can all heal from that, what true healing looks like, I think they can be an example, as you said, for the entire world.
Right.
And you can watch the full interview available on our program Tête à Tête, also on our website, france24.com. If you find yourselves in the steep mountains of Tilouguit, that's in the Azilal region of Morocco, locals are fighting to preserve an ancestral whistling-based language that echoes through the valleys. People, they say, learn it like they learn to walk or to talk. And the principle of the language is simple. The words are said in whistles, and the key to understanding it is practice. Laurent Bersecher has a story.
As Brahim Amraoui herds his goats through Morocco's Atlas Mountains, only the distant sound of whistling rises above the silence. This shepherd just asked his son to gather the rest of the herd, for in these high-pitched notes hides a centuries-old language that's been passed down through generations.
We learned this whistling language from our ancestors, who used it to communicate with each other while tending to their herds. It's since evolved to become a fully fledged language.
With no roads or paths, the slightest trip takes hours in these remote mountains, located 400 kilometers southeast of Rabat. And without phones or electricity, local populations have been forced to rely on whistling to communicate. Within the walls of these rocky valleys, the piercing sound can be heard up to 3 kilometers away.
This whistled language is a huge help to the herders. It acts like a remote control for the animals. It also facilitates contact between people living in these areas who do not have any other means of communication.
A unique language in Morocco that could soon become extinct. In recent years, drought and poverty have forced many families to flee the mountains. Today, only a handful remain, intent on continuing to preserve and pass down their ancestral heritage.
And I wish I could whistle. That concludes today's edition of Eye on Africa. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you do so again. Stay tuned to France 24.